Switch Update 21.0.0 only blocked third-party docks. It seems like in an effort to fix these docks, people are bricking them. I'm going to do what I can to help you not brick your third-party dock in this edition of Switch 2 News Direct.
A warning for Switch 2 owners right out of the gate. Attempting to update third-party or clone docks with Jemdo's new firmware carries a real risk of permanently bricking the device. Some users are successfully updating their adapters. Others are losing them for good. Here's what's actually confirmed so far. Switch 2 News Direct has verified that the Jemdo HDMI cable-style dock does work again on Switch 2 after applying Jemdo's official firmware update. Once patched, video output, charging, and general functionality return to normal. The situation with the Jemdo dongle dock is less certain. Switch 2 News Direct has not yet been able to confirm firsthand that the dongle's firmware fix works. However, multiple subscribers have reported successful updates, stating that their dongle versions were restored to full working order after flashing the new firmware. But the biggest wrinkle is the wave of clone Jemdo dongle docks floating around online. Switch 2 News Direct has confirmed that some of these clones can be flashed using Jemdo's firmware tool, and in those cases, they've come back to life on Switch 2. The danger is simple. The chipset inside each clone varies wildly. Because there's no way to know exactly what hardware is inside, the chance of a clone getting bricked during the update is significantly higher than with an official Jemdo adapter. To sum it up, the Jemdo HDMI cable dock firmware fix is confirmed working. The official Jemdo dongle dock has positive user reports, but no first-hand confirmation yet. Clone dongle docks are a gamble. Some update successfully, others die on the table.
All right, folks, I didn't think I'd be back talking about docks today, but I did do some more testing, and I was able to get one of the clone dongle docks working, and I also bricked one of the clone dongle docks. So let's go ahead and review all the docks that we went over yesterday and what we know about each one. So first we have the classic HDMI cable dock. It seems like the Jemdo firmware update for these docks works perfect. I haven't seen any issues, and it also seems like most people who have clones of these docks, meaning ones that don't actually say Jemdo on them, are having success updating them with the actual Jemdo firmware. So if you have this cable or a clone of this cable, let us know if you have success in the comments so we can keep track of which docks are able to be updated and which ones aren't. Now let's move on to the dongle dock, and this is where I ran into some issues, but keep in mind I only have clones. I do not have any Jemdo dongle docks, so I can't confirm or deny that they aren't working. But from the research that I've done in the comments and on the internet, it seems like the legit Jemdo versions are able to be updated no problem. Now, all the dongle docks that I have are all the Need Use brand, which are not Jemdo. Now, my suspicion was that these were just identical clones to the Jemdo, just rebranded. But when I tried to update the firmware in these docks, they all failed. Now, they didn't fail in terms of they started updating and stopped. The dock just couldn't be recognized by the firmware application. So I just wrote them off at the time because I needed to get all my other testing done and make the video to help everybody out trying to get their docks updated. But now that I've had some time and was able to review the comments and look on the internet, it seems like some people have actually updated these Need Use dongles with the actual Jemdo firmware. So I have 3 of these Need Use dongles and I got 3 results on each one. I purchased this dongle dock years ago for my Switch 1, and I've never tried to update it. I just use it strictly for the Switch 1. This dongle dock right here was specifically purchased for the Switch 2. So it came straight up working for the Switch 2, no upgrades needed. So both of these docks, when I tried to run the firmware on it, it would do nothing. It wouldn't recognize the dock. But I did notice that with the HDMI cable docks, it wasn't recognizing the dock either, and sometimes I had to reboot because I noticed if I tried to close the app or move that app, it would give me a sharing violation, meaning something is probably holding on to that port. So I decided to reboot my laptop before every single flash. Now that added a lot of time onto testing, but at least I knew that USB port couldn't be hung up for any reason. And somewhere along the line during all that rebooting and testing, the flashing utility decided to actually recognize this dongle and started to update it. The problem is the update would get halfway, crash, bring up an error. You'd hit OK, it would start flashing it again, go halfway, update, error, and just in an endless loop of that. Whether you hit cancel, whether you hit OK, it would just keep doing the same thing. So eventually I killed the utility, unhooked the dock, tested it, and sure enough, it was bricked. My guess is because this is an older model Switch 1 dock with a completely different board and chipset. But either way, this dock is done, so we're going to set it off the side and move on to this dock. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about this because bottom line is the utility would not recognize this no matter what. And I tried every trick in the book to get this thing to recognize, tried every firmware package that was on the Jemdo website, and to no avail. So I'm just going to keep this bad boy in stock, and hopefully somewhere along the line, something will come out or I'll figure some way to update this. If not, I'll just use it for my Switch 1. Now, one of my subscribers in the comments mentioned that they were able to update their need-use dock using the Pattern 1 firmware. This need-use dock, when I used the Pattern 1 firmware, it instantly recognized it and updated it, which is really strange because I tried that yesterday and it didn't work. But I'm not going to argue. It instantaneously worked just like I was updating one of the HDMI cable docks. So if you have one of these need-use docks and you're looking directly into the ports, if your USB-A is on the right and your USB-C is on the left, then go ahead and use the Pattern 1 firmware and that should update this. But I am going to qualify it here. There is no guarantees because these things are made in some factory in China. So who knows what boards these really have, but I feel confident that that will work on these docks. And if you think about it, if you just leave your dock as is, if you're scared to run that firmware update on it, it's never going to work. So it's basically bricked anyway. Even though it's not bricked, it actually is bricked because you're never going to update it and it's never going to be able to be used. So you have to make that decision. Do you want to take the chance, update your dock hopefully, and you're back up and running, or give it a go and brick it and you're back to where you were anyway with a non-working dock? And I don't know how much you guys paid for those docks, but man, I know I paid under $10 for all of these. So let's move on and do a complete, detailed, unedited test of this clone Jemdo dongle dock. So let's grab the Switch 2 and verify for the camera that it is on 21.0.0. All right, and I think that's close enough that you can see 21.0.0. All right, and let's go ahead and hook this bad boy up. So we'll take the Switch 2 and we'll put it in the stand. We have the dongle dock. Plug in the power, plug in the HDMI. So once the HDMI goes in, we should see the monitor give the no signal. There we go. So the monitor knows that there's something connected. Plug in the dongle, dock. And there we go. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to do something a little different because this has a USB port on it, remember. So we're going to test that really quick. So let's just verify. It looks like it automatically recognized the Pro 2 controller. Good to go. So we can see that that's working. So I actually have a corded controller. It doesn't have a USB plug in it. This thing is 100% cord built into it. I think this is on brand from Walmart. And I use these for when I do gaming, not really parties, but we do events with gaming. So we're going to plug this into the dock. Now the controller just vibrated. You probably heard it. And we're probably, if you see we have a light on here, it's saying it's controller 2. Now this is odd. Oh, okay. This is pretty good. Normally when you plug in a wired controller like this, you have to go into the menu, the controller menu, and set the order of the controllers. But I was messing around with this earlier, so probably remembered it. So this is correct. It's set up as player 2. Everything's working. So again, straight up, I want to get that closer to the camera so you can see that that actually is a wired controller. So we have all 3 ports on the dongle dock connected. Everything working. Let's go, let's bust out some Kirby, baby. These controllers aren't too bad for 20 bucks. Again, it's wired. So we're good to go. So our dock is working. As far as I know, it's working perfect. The one thing I didn't test is I'll use this dock with a 4-way powered hub, and I can use 4 of these controllers and it works sweet. I did not test that because I'm trying to get this video out as quickly as possible to kind of help everybody out. So anyway, there we go. Let's go ahead and bust out of this. And let's leave the game. Let's leave that going. Sorry. I like actually seeing the game still play when you pull out of the docks. It's a little more proof that it's really working. So you see we have the Kirby screen. We'll unplug the dock. There we go. So as long as you have the right firmware, It's pretty simple to update these docks, but, you know, take into consideration, you have the wrong firmware, if something goes awry, you could brick it. But the one thing I'll say, that is the glory of buying these docks. These docks work excellent. I've had zero problems with these docks other than Nintendo blocking them, and we're back up and running. So for the price of these docks, even with this thing getting bricked, I could care less. I didn't pay that much for it. So that's going to do it, and I appreciate you guys watching the videos. The channel's kind of blowing up from this dock stuff. You know, I've been grinding pretty hard, and I appreciate everybody who's watched the videos, commented, whatever. Greatly appreciated. I love doing this, and hopefully you guys will come back for more, and I'll see you in the next news video. Peace.